We're now less than 2 weeks until the election. It's election season, early voting underway. And Karoline Leavitt is joining me, National Press Secretary for the Trump campaign. Karoline, always great to spend a few minutes with you.
It's great to be with you, Scott. Thanks for having me today.
Are you out with President Trump today on the trail?
Not today. I am calling in live from the headquarters in West Palm Beach. We have a ton of great staffers here. We're working around the clock all day, every day. President is off to the West Coast today. He's giving a big speech in Las Vegas, Nevada tonight.
Yeah, and the momentum really seems to be on President Trump's side right now.
It does indeed. We feel very good about where the race stands right now. The momentum is definitely on President Trump's side. We remain incredibly confident that he is going to win on November 5th. Both the public polling is showing him leading Kamala Harris. He's leading in every single battleground state according to the Real Clear average. And that same lead is reflected in our internal data. But we're not taking a single second for granted or a day for granted. President Trump will be barnstorming the country all over the place over the next 12 days, and we're going to keeping hard to make sure we run through the finish line here.
What are you looking at Trump headquarters? What polling number do you put the most stock in? Is it your internal numbers? Is it all of the other polls that are out there? Or is it like me now? I'm looking at Kalshi and Polymarket, the betting odds. Those seem to be the ones I like watching most.
Well, we take a look at every single poll that we see. There's so many of them. Some pollsters we know are better than others, but the data that really matters to us is our internal data, because we don't juice the numbers and we don't have any, bias. Obviously, we want truly honest results in data so that we can make sound campaign decisions about where to go with our messaging and which voters we need to target, et cetera, et cetera. So we, are very confident in our internal data. The president has chosen one of the best in the country to be part of this campaign team so that we can have honest feedback about what it looks like out there across the country. And our internal polls show him winning every single battleground state right now.
I've said for about a year it's going to boil down to a few counties in Pennsylvania that swing this election one way or another. Is that the state you're watching the most, or do you have other states that concern you right now?
Well, look, every battleground state's very important to us, but no doubt the road back to the White House leads right through the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It's a huge state, and President Trump has spent significant time there. We feel very good about the state of the race in Pennsylvania. We have a fantastic field team on the ground. They don't really get much attention in the media, but they're working every single day to register voters and turn them out to the polls. And we're seeing it pay off in early voting. We have out-registered Democrats 2-1 in Pennsylvania, and we've flipped 3 historically blue counties red in terms of voter registration in the early vote. Bucks, Beaver, and Luzerne County are 3 places where Republicans are currently outnumbering Democrats. And that's a testament to our Pennsylvania field team's efforts, knowing, it's a state that we have to win.
Yeah, that's huge. We're talking to Karoline Leavitt. She is the National Press Secretary for the Trump campaign. As you're looking through all of this data as well, I mean, obviously, as you say, take nothing for granted. There's been a push, and this is a marked change from 2016 and 2020, to vote early, and I think that's important. The RNC has the entire Bank the Vote campaign out there, early voting underway in so many states. It's important to get out and vote just in case something happens on Election Day. I've always been the guy that goes out to vote on that Tuesday. I like to talk to the poll workers, find out what they're seeing, what the vibe is, if there have been any problems, but you never know what may come up on Election Day. Take the opportunity when you've got 15, 20 minutes extra at lunch to get out to vote now.
Yeah, see, that's exactly right. And the president has been very consistent in encouraging Americans to get out and to vote early for that reason. You don't know what could happen to you on Election Day. As a working mom, you realize the day goes from you, and next thing you know, it's bedtime, and you might forget to vote, or you could get sick, or you could have something come up. So we want to make sure we're banking as many votes as possible early. And the other thing that early voting does for people is it helps you encourage others to get out and vote. Myself, I had to vote absentee the last time I was home in New Hampshire, knowing I wouldn't be in the state on Election Day. And now that I've voted, I've been encouraging all my friends and family to get out and to do the same. So it gives you more time to bring as many people to the polls with you. And so that's why we are encouraging everyone in Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona, all these key battleground states, and in every state where early voting is allowed, to get out and to cast your ballot. You'll feel much better about it when you do.
Karoline, let's go back to a battleground state again. We've got so many great listeners in Michigan, which is going to be another important swing state for President Trump, but also down ballot races. Like our friend Mike Rogers running for Senate. Will Donald Trump be able to carry Mike Rogers along with him?
Of course. Look, President Trump, we know when he is on the ballot, there's high turnout, record high turnout amongst Republicans, and also low propensity voters, as we call them. Those are people who, are not so inclined to be involved in politics, may not vote in midterm cycles, but they do vote in presidential years. We are targeting those voters and making sure we get them out to the polls and encouraging them to vote not just for President Trump, of course, but for Republicans up and down the ballot.
We are now 2 weeks away from the election, Karoline, and it's the time where you start to see a little desperation from your opponents and attempts in the mainstream press on some October surprises, new accusations coming out against Donald Trump from former cabinet members and chiefs of staff and former women in his past. Does that surprise you at all? Were you ready for that this month?
Oh, of course we were. There's no surprises. We wake up every day knowing that we're in a knife-fighting business, and it's a dirty business, politics. It's a blood sport, and they don't want President Trump to be elected. They being the Democrats, the deep state, the intelligence community, the Iranian regime that is in an active plot to literally take out President Trump. I mean, he has withstood more adversity than anyone who has ever ran president in history of our country, and he's still going strong. And none of these stories, all fake and manufactured by the Democrat Party and operatives, are going to make a difference because President Trump is more popular today than he ever has been since 2016. And they're running the same hit pieces that we've heard before, baseless accusations that are unequivocally false, and comparing him to Hitler, which is just disgusting rhetoric. But that's the type of rhetoric Kamala Harris has now resorted to in this race. She can't stand on policy. She can't stand on her record. So she is launching these attacks at President Trump that just don't hit. They don't make sense because people lived under President Trump for 4 years and they know that he's absolutely not Hitler. That's absurd. And our country was much better off under his leadership.
And Kamala Harris unable to answer questions that she should be well prepared for and know are coming. In fact, probably does know exactly what questions are coming and is unable to answer them time and time again.
It's pretty pathetic to see how unprepared Kamala Harris continues to be. As the Vice President of the United States, she should be able to answer basic questions, especially from the friendliest of hosts on the friendliest of networks like Anderson Cooper on CNN last night, and Kamala couldn't answer a question. It's befuddling how she is even the Democrat nominee, but then we remember she didn't receive a single vote. She was handed the position after the Democrats staged a coup against Joe Biden because he was too senile. So this is the candidate they've ended up with. She's weak, and she's been the failure as a vice president.
Trump National Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt here on the Scott Sancho. In the last 2 weeks before Election Day, both campaigns heading off to some unusual stops. Kamala Harris campaigning in Texas, which she doesn't have a chance in hell of flipping blue, and Donald Trump in New York, which is also an interesting move, holding a rally at Madison Square Garden. Do you expect that New York State is in play? I see it as a smart move strategically. You'll get a lot of press coverage for this, but what's the thought process behind that move?
We do think that New York is in play. It's President Trump's home state. He has a deep connection with it, of course. He's a New Yorker through and through. And he loves New York. And you see what the Democrats have done to it, particularly with the illegal immigration crisis that has really been catastrophic for New York City because of the sanctuary city policies there and the defund the police policies there. Crime is skyrocketing in New York State. The cost of living is skyrocketing. Taxes are high. People are leaving the state, fleeing at record numbers to go live in red states because they realize Democrat policies are failure. It has been a failure. So I do think that there's an opportunity to at least really tighten the gap and close the gap in New York. And I know President Trump is laser focused on doing that since he loves New York so much.
I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but this campaign has produced some amazing visuals along the way. whether it be Donald Trump standing up from behind the podium after someone shot at him, to putting on an apron and working at a drive-thru at McDonald's. What are some of the moments of the campaign that stand out to you so far? And I'm sure this may change in the next 2 weeks as well.
Yeah, well, we have so much planned in the next 12 days. President Trump is going to be on the road, like I said, barnstorming the country in state after state. Madison Square Garden is going to be a huge night for us on Sunday. We're really looking forward to it. And then he's doing multiple events a day, town halls, taking questions from voters. He did a big speech last night in Georgia with Tucker Carlson. Jason Aldean introduced him. Tonight, he'll be in Vegas. Tomorrow, he'll be in Michigan. He'll be in Pennsylvania, then back to New York. I mean, it's hard to keep up with him, working for him, but he's working so hard. And it's just exciting to be part of, and we're very confident we're going to win this thing on November 5th.
Karoline Leavitt, find her on social media, Trump National Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt here on the Scott Sands Show. Karoline, always great to have you on. I appreciate your time.
You too. Thank you.